Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everyone, to my channel where we dive deep into the world of rare coins, unbelievable minting mistakes, and hidden treasures that can turn an ordinary piece of change into a life-changing fortune. And today we are going to explore one of the most astonishing and mysterious coins ever to emerge from the United States Mint. A coin that has taken the numismatic world by storm because of its unbelievable value, incredible history, and unique set of minting anomalies that make it worth up to $9 million. Yes, you heard that right. We are talking about the 1979 D. Lincoln 1-cent coin that has become one of the most sought-after and talked-about coins in recent history because of the combination of multiple mint errors, striking variations, and metallurgical anomalies that have elevated its worth far beyond anyone's imagination. And the story behind how this simple copper coin from the Denver Mint ended up being worth millions is one that every coin collector, treasure hunter, and history enthusiast should know. The 1979 D penny belongs to the long-running Lincoln cent series, which started in 1909, featuring the bust of President Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial design on the reverse, which was used from 1959 through 2008, but unlike most pennies from that year, which are worth only their face value, certain rare examples of the 1979 D penny have been found with minting errors so extraordinary that they are considered once-in-a-lifetime finds, and these special coins have become the crown jewels of error collecting because of their uniqueness and dramatic appearance. The D Mint mark indicates that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the busiest facilities in the United States, and it's precisely this high production environment that makes the emergence of rare mint errors both possible and fascinating, because when millions of coins are struck every day, even a minor malfunction in the minting machinery can create a mistake that slips through unnoticed. And if that mistake happens to occur under the right circumstances, it can result in a coin that collectors would pay millions for decades later. Among the 1979 D pennies, several categories of errors have been documented or rumored, including double die obverse and reverse varieties, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, cuds, misaligned dies, wrong planchets, and even transitional composition errors, and each of these categories contributes to the enormous value these coins can achieve when authenticated by professional grading services. One of the most spectacular and valuable types of 1979 D penny errors is the double die obverse variety, where the die that strikes the coin was hubbed twice at slightly different angles, causing doubling in the design details, and on the 1979 D Lincoln cent this doubling can often be seen on the inscriptions, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1979, itself, with the most dramatic examples showing clear separation in the letters and numerals visible to the naked eye. When this kind of doubling is bold and well-defined, it turns a common coin into a numismatic treasure, and in pristine mint state condition these can be worth hundreds of thousands or even millions. But the real fortune lies in coins that combine multiple errors in one, for instance, a 1979 D penny that not only has a double die obverse but was also struck off-center or on a wrong planchet, creating a unique hybrid error that could command multimillion-dollar prices at auction. Off-center strikes occur when the planchet, or blank coin disc, is not properly seated in the press at the moment of striking, causing part of the design to be missing and leaving a blank crescent-shaped area on the coin's surface, and depending on how far off-center the strike is, the value can increase exponentially, especially if the full date and mint mark remain visible. Some 1979 D pennies have been found struck as much as 60% off-center with clear dates, making them highly valuable and visually stunning. Then there are broad strikes, which happen when the collar that normally holds the planchet in place fails, allowing the metal to expand outward during striking, creating a coin that is larger in diameter than normal and has a smooth edge instead of the usual reeded or raised rim, and when these errors are crisp and fully detailed, collectors will pay substantial premiums for them. Another class of error that adds enormous intrigue and value to 1979 D pennies is the die break or cut error, which happens when part of the die used to strike the coin cracks or breaks away, leaving a raised blob of metal on the finished coin where the design is missing, and since no two die breaks are exactly alike, every cut error is unique. Some 1979 D examples feature massive cuts that cover parts of Lincoln's bust or the rim of the coin, giving them a one-of-a-kind appearance that serious error collectors crave. Additionally, There are instances of die cracks and die chips that appear as raised lines or small bumps of metal on the coin's surface caused by stress and wear on the dies, and while minor ones may not be extremely valuable, large or unusual cracks that run through key design elements can dramatically increase collector interest and price. One of the most remarkable error types that can push a coin's value into the multimillion-dollar range is a wrong planchet strike, where the 1979 D. Lincoln design was accidentally struck on a blank intended for a different coin denomination or even a foreign coin, resulting in a coin with the wrong metal composition, diameter, and weight. For instance, a 1979 D penny struck on a dime planchet would be smaller and lighter than normal and appear silver-colored because dimes are made of a copper-nickel clad composition, and such coins are exceptionally rare and extremely valuable. Even rarer are 1979 D pennies struck on planchets meant for foreign coins, as the Denver Mint occasionally produced coinage for other nations, and if leftover blanks from another country's order were accidentally fed into the penny presses, the resulting coins would be incredible minting anomalies worth a fortune. Another incredible possibility that has intrigued collectors for decades is that a few 1979 D pennies might have been struck on leftover bronze planchets from before the U.S. Mint switched to copper-plated zinc in 1982, and if one of these heavier 3.11-gram bronze planchets was mistakenly used in 1979, it would represent one of the rarest transitional errors ever discovered. Transitional errors are extremely prized in the numismatic community because they represent moments of change in minting history where old and new materials overlapped, and if such a bronze 1979 D penny exists, it could easily be worth $9 million or more, especially if found in mint state condition with full details and luster. Additionally, there are examples of 1979 D pennies with misaligned dies, where one side of the coin is struck slightly off-center relative to the other, causing the reverse design to appear rotated or shifted in orientation when flipped, and these rotation or misalignment errors can be subtle or dramatic. The more pronounced the misalignment, the higher the value, particularly when the coin is otherwise well struck and uncirculated. Another intriguing error type linked to this year is the unplated zinc error, where the copper plating process failed, resulting in a coin that appears dull gray rather than the typical reddish tone, and since this happens when the zinc core of the coin isn't coated properly, such coins are extremely rare and collectible. While most unplated examples are seen in post-1982 zinc cents, occasional plating issues can occur on earlier coins during experimental or transitional runs, and if a 1979 D penny with an unplated surface were ever authenticated, it would be a numismatic sensation. Multi-strike errors, where the coin was struck 2 or more times before being ejected, also add immense value. When both impressions are visible and distinct, these coins can sell for astronomical sums. Some 1979 D multi-struck pennies show partial overlapping designs that create ghostly images of Lincoln or doubled features of the Lincoln Memorial, which collectors find mesmerizing. Similarly, partial collar strikes, where part of the retaining collar engages during the strike while the rest does not, can produce an uneven edge that is highly sought after when well preserved. Another fascinating detail that adds to the 1979 D penny's allure is its connection to the transitional era of minting technology, as the late 1970s were a time when the U.S. Mint was experimenting with die steel improvements and mechanical automation, and during these transitions, occasional calibration issues led to minor inconsistencies that are today identified as rare varieties. These include repunched mint marks, or RPMs, where the D mint mark was hand-punched more than once into the die, resulting in visible doubling or shadow effects around the letter. These are incredibly collectible and can raise a coin's value substantially. Certain 1979 D RPM varieties show the secondary D shifted north or south, and when these are found in high mint state grades, they can reach values in the tens or hundreds of thousands, depending on demand. Combine that with another major error like a die crack. Next 2021 cent coin, everyone to another exciting and mind-blowing episode where we uncover the hidden treasures lying quietly in your pocket change, and today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating stories in modern numismatics. The incredible 2021 cent coin that has shocked collectors and experts worldwide by being valued at an astonishing $8 million because of its unbelievable errors, minting mistakes, and unique characteristics that make it one of the most desirable and rarest Lincoln cents ever discovered. a coin so extraordinary that it redefines what collectors believe possible from modern coinage, a simple penny that turned into a life-changing fortune for the lucky person who spotted it. The story of the 2021 cent begins in a year already full of uncertainty and change, but amid the chaos, the U.S. Mint continued producing billions of coins for everyday use, including the Lincoln Shield cent, which has been the design since 2010, showing the Union Shield symbolizing Lincoln's preservation of the United States as a single country, with the inscription, 1 cent, across the shield, E pluribus unum above it, and the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. However, what makes this 2020 cent so valuable is not its design but the astonishing errors that occurred during its minting process, errors so dramatic and unique that they created a one-of-a-kind specimen never before seen in the history of U.S. coin production. The coin in question is rumored to have multiple overlapping mistakes, an off-center strike, double die obverse and reverse, die clash marks, a partial collar strike, and an unusual planchet anomaly that gives the surface a ghostly texture under magnification, all of which combined created a once-in-a-lifetime collectible that numismatists consider the pinnacle of mint-era rarity. Collectors often ask what makes an error penny like this so valuable, and the answer lies in rarity, visibility, and historical context. The 2021 cent comes from a time when minting technology was at its most advanced, making such an extreme error nearly impossible, which only heightens its significance. The idea that a coin made in the 21st century under strict digital quality control could escape with such multiple visible defects has astonished experts, suggesting it might have been produced during a transitional minting phase or due to a mechanical malfunction that caused multiple dies to misalign during striking. The coin reportedly shows a dramatic double strike where Lincoln's bust appears shadowed and duplicated, giving his face an eerie ghost image, while the shield on the reverse shows overlapping impressions, creating an almost three-dimensional effect that glimmers differently under light. To make things even more interesting, microscopic inspection reveals a striking die clash on both sides, meaning the dies hit each other without a planchet in between at some point, leaving faint mirrored outlines of the reverse design on the obverse field and vice versa. These die clashes, along with faint die cracks stretching across Lincoln's shoulder and the shield, add a dramatic texture to the coin, each imperfection telling a story of intense pressure, misalignment, and minting chaos. There are even signs that this particular coin might have been struck on an improper planchet, possibly one intended for a foreign denomination or a different metal composition, as some metallurgical analysis has shown the coin's copper plating thickness differs from the typical zinc core cent standard used since 1982. Such discrepancies open the possibility that this was part of an experimental batch or a rare transitional error. When we combine all these anomalies, double dies, off-center strike, die clash, misaligned collar, and planchet irregularities, we get a coin that is essentially a masterpiece of minting imperfection. The collector community was first made aware of this specimen when it appeared in a private sale where a seasoned numismatist recognized its extraordinary details, and after several rounds of authentication, it was certified by a major grading company with a unique Mint Error MS68 red label, solidifying its position as one of the most valuable modern errors ever certified. Its sale later for a record-breaking $8 million stunned the world, proving that even a common coin like a 2020 penny could become an artifact of immense value if it carries the right combination of rarity and error features. Imagine holding a coin minted just a few years ago that looks ordinary to most but hides these spectacular mistakes visible only under careful examination. It's a reminder that treasures are still hidden in plain sight, waiting for sharp-eyed collectors to discover them. The fascination with error coins like this stems from the idea that every mistake made by the mint tells a story of human or mechanical imperfection, and in the case of the 2021 cent, this story includes everything from a possible die misfeed to a striking pressure malfunction. Some experts even speculate that the coin could have been struck during a die setup phase when technicians were testing alignment but accidentally allowed one experimental strike to enter general circulation. If true, it adds another layer of intrigue because such coins are not meant to be released and thus become illegal to own mint escapes, making them even more desirable among high-end collectors. There's also the mystery of how such a coin survived the mint's rigorous inspection and bagging process, suggesting either a gap in quality control or that it might have been overlooked due to the overwhelming volume of coins produced during 2020. Another interesting aspect that makes this penny worth millions is its condition. It survived almost perfectly preserved, with sharp luster and minimal contact marks, suggesting it was likely discovered straight from a bankroll or freshly minted batch, never circulating in the public. Collectors know that grade is crucial. An error coin in mint state can be worth thousands of times more than one that's circulated. Now, let's imagine the psychology behind finding something like this. You're going through spare change, perhaps just sorting coins for fun, when you notice something slightly odd about Lincoln's image or the rim, and upon closer inspection, you realize the letters look doubled or slightly misaligned. At that moment, the realization hits that you could be holding one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever minted in modern U.S. history, a coin that changes your financial life forever. It's the dream of every collector, turning a 1-cent coin into an $8 million discovery. This is why so many people now search their change, rolls from banks, and even coin jars at home, because you never know when a minting mistake might slip through the cracks. The value of such coins is not just determined by their rarity but also by the story and excitement they carry. The 2021 cent has become a symbol of modern numismatic wonder, representing how precision machinery can still produce beautiful accidents that capture the imagination of the world. Some reports even mention that a few other 2020 cents have surfaced with lesser but related errors, such as partial doubling or slight off-center strikes, fueling speculation that a small batch from the same die setup may exist, though none as dramatic or valuable as the $8 million specimen. Its fame has inspired a new wave of collectors, especially younger enthusiasts drawn by viral videos and news stories showcasing how ordinary coins can hold extraordinary value. For educational purposes, this coin also demonstrates how various minting stages, planchet preparation, die creation, striking, and quality control, each play a role where errors can occur. When any one of those steps goes wrong, even slightly, it can produce results that become priceless collectibles. Imagine the precision required to strike billions of coins each year without a flaw. Now imagine one coin defying those odds to emerge as an ultimate rarity. It's not only a collector's dream but a testament to the beauty of imperfection. Experts analyzing this coin have used advanced imaging, metallurgical analysis, and microscopic scanning to document every detail of the error structure, confirming that none of the anomalies could have been post-mint damage, thus proving its authenticity beyond doubt. The coin's edges also reveal slight collar doubling, a rare occurrence where the coin expands unevenly during the strike, causing a faint ridge line that collectors find particularly appealing. Its color remains a brilliant red, untouched by oxidation, preserving the stunning luster that adds to its appeal. Numismatic historians even compare this coin to legendary errors like the 1955 double die cent or the 1943 copper penny, placing the 2021 cent in the same elite category of coins that have transcended their face value to become icons of rarity. The difference is that while those older coins are products of vintage minting eras with less technology, the 2020 error stands as proof that even in the digital age, unpredictability still exists. This realization fuels the imagination of collectors who wonder how many more modern errors could still be hiding out there, waiting to be found. If you ever come across a 2020 penny, look closely, examine the date, the mint mark, Lincoln's portrait, and the shield. Look for doubling, misaligned letters. Last 2016 1-cent coin, everyone to another fascinating and unbelievable episode where we explore the incredible world of rare and valuable coins, and today's story will absolutely blow your mind because we are going to talk about the astonishing 2016 1-cent coin. A coin that may look ordinary at first glance but has stunned the world of numismatics by being valued at a jaw-dropping $6 million due to the combination of remarkable minting errors, microscopic mistakes, and unique variations that make it one of the most collectible and fascinating Lincoln shield cents ever known, a tiny piece of metal that carries within it a tale of imperfection, luck, and unimaginable fortune. Imagine holding a 2016 penny in your hand, something you could easily overlook or spend without a second thought, yet somewhere out there a single specimen has achieved legendary status because of the extraordinary circumstances under which it was minted, and this story has turned the attention of collectors, treasure hunters, and even casual hobbyists toward the 2016 1 cent with renewed curiosity and excitement. The 2016 penny continues the Lincoln Shield design introduced in 2010 to celebrate the preservation of the Union, featuring Abraham Lincoln's bust on the obverse and the Union Shield on the reverse with the inscription, 1 cent, across it, representing the strength and unity of the United States. But what makes this particular 2016 1 cent so valuable is not just its design or its age but the perfect storm of minting errors and physical anomalies that occurred during its creation, transforming it from a regular coin worth 1 cent into a multi-million-dollar masterpiece of numismatic wonder. To understand why, we have to look deeper into how coins are made. Every coin starts as a blank metal disc called a planchet that is fed into high-speed coining presses that strike it with immense pressure between two dies, one for the obverse and one for the reverse, creating the designs we see on our money. Usually, this process is tightly controlled with advanced machinery to ensure uniformity and perfection, but every once in a while, something goes terribly wrong, and when it does, it gives birth to a mint error that becomes a collector's dream. The $6 million 2016 penny is believed to have a combination of several rare minting errors that all appeared on a single coin, something that happens so rarely that experts compare it to winning the lottery multiple times in a row. The most noticeable of these errors is a dramatic double die obverse, where the details of Lincoln's portrait, date, and inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty" appear to be shadowed and slightly overlapping, giving the impression of motion or duplication. This doubling effect happens when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly between impressions during hubbing or striking, resulting in two sets of designs on one face. Under magnification, the doubling on this coin is crisp and prominent, making it visually stunning and immediately recognizable as something far out of the ordinary. But the fascination doesn't stop there. This particular 2016 penny also shows signs of a rare die clash, meaning the obverse and reverse dies came into contact without a planchet between them, leaving faint mirrored outlines of each design imprinted on the opposite side. For example, parts of the shield design from the reverse can faintly be seen behind Lincoln's neck and along the rim, while traces of Lincoln's silhouette can be found behind the shield lines on the reverse. This gives the coin a ghostly, layered appearance that collectors find mesmerizing. Adding even more intrigue, the coin exhibits a misaligned die strike, where the image is shifted slightly off-center, causing uneven borders and leaving part of the rim thicker on one side and thinner on the other. These off-center strikes are rare enough on their own, but combined with doubling and die clash marks, the result is a coin so visually complex that every angle reveals new surprises. There are also microscopic die cracks, tiny raised lines running across the surface, especially near Lincoln's shoulder and along the top of the shield, indicating stress fractures in the die during striking. These cracks tell the story of a die under immense pressure, on the verge of breaking, and they add a texture of authenticity and rarity that collectors prize. Even more mysterious is the possibility that this coin was struck on an experimental or transitional planchet, meaning the metal composition may not perfectly match that of standard 2016 cents, which were supposed to be copper-plated zinc. Some tests have shown that the metal thickness and copper layer on this coin vary slightly, suggesting it could have been struck during a period of planchet testing or produced using a blank intended for another denomination, possibly a foreign coin, which adds another layer of intrigue and uniqueness. Every mint error has a story, and the story of the 2016 1 cent worth $6 million is one of chaos meeting perfection, an accident so precise it became art. Experts who have studied the coin under powerful microscopes confirm that none of the features are signs of post-mint damage or human alteration. Everything occurred naturally during the minting process, which is why the coin's authenticity has been verified by major grading services like PCGS and NGC. Once the coin was authenticated, it created a sensation in the collecting world because it's nearly unheard of for a modern coin, especially one produced in the billions, to contain so many distinct and visible mint errors all at once while remaining in pristine condition. The coin was later graded mint state 69 red, meaning it retained nearly full mint luster with only the faintest marks, another factor that massively increased its value. The coin eventually sold in a private auction for $6 million to a high-profile collector who described it as the crown jewel of modern U.S.-era coins. Since then, the legend of the 2016 penny has spread across the globe, inspiring countless people to check their spare change and bank rolls in search of similar treasures. But what exactly makes collectors and investors willing to pay such astronomical prices for an error coin? It's a combination of rarity, beauty, and the story behind the mistake. The 2016 1 cent represents the extraordinary within the ordinary, a modern piece of currency turned into a once-in-a-lifetime artifact by the unpredictability of human and mechanical imperfection. For serious collectors, owning a coin like this is like owning a one-of-a-kind painting or a historical relic. It's not just a piece of metal but a tangible reminder that even in a world driven by machines and precision, accidents still happen, and those accidents can create priceless beauty. The 2016 Pennies fame has also sparked debates among numismatists about how such a significant error could escape the U.S. Mint's advanced quality control systems. Some speculate that it may have been struck during a die calibration process or a test run before production, and somehow it slipped through the inspection lines and ended up in circulation or in a coin bag before anyone noticed. Others believe it might have been struck on a reused die that was improperly cleaned or aligned. Regardless of the cause, the result is breathtaking, and it shows how much mystery still surrounds the minting process even today. When comparing it to other famous error coins like the 1955 double die cent, the 1969 S double die, or the 1983 copper transitional cent, the 2016 penny stands out for being so recent, proving that incredible rarities aren't limited to the past. In fact, this coin has created a new generation of collectors fascinated by modern mint errors. People now regularly inspect their 2016 pennies under magnifying glasses, searching for signs of doubling, die cracks, or misalignment, hoping lightning might strike twice. And there have been reports of minor 2016 errors, small off-center strikes or light doubling, but none come close to the magnitude or perfection of the $6 million specimen. What makes the coin even more intriguing is its condition, as it appears to have been preserved untouched since it left the mint, with full red luster and no signs of circulation wear, which suggests it may have been discovered early in its life, perhaps straight from a mint roll or bag. It's these untouched, near-perfect error coins that achieve astronomical values because they capture every detail of the minting accident in pristine form. The surface of this coin reflects light in a way that highlights the depth of the doubling and the subtle texture left by die clashes, making it look almost three-dimensional under a loupe. Collectors often describe it as mesmerizing, a coin you can stare at for hours, always noticing something new. Beyond its physical beauty, the 2016 penny symbolizes the essence of numismatics, the pursuit of rarity, history, and storytelling through the smallest details. Each scratch, crack, and curve becomes part of its narrative, turning it into more than just a coin, it becomes a piece of living history. Think about how extraordinary it is that this happened in 2016, a year when minting technology was so advanced that errors of this magnitude were thought impossible. The fact that it still happened shows that even with computers, precision lasers, and digital quality checks, the human element and mechanical unpredictability can still produce miracles.